Hello, 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 hello. Um, and thank you for being here. It's been a while since I did a live broadcast. Um, Fortunately, I had to, my wife and I attended a program where we were featured as a couple for Valentine's Day program in church. And I'm sure those of you who are very traditional Christians are wondering, Valentine in church. And I've heard the misconception going on where people are saying that a certain erotic, a certain pagan feast has been brought in church. Sometimes I'm amused by the level of ignorance of people who want to criticize others. Most people criticize in Christian circles out of ignorance. Fortunately, Saint Valentine, as the name says, was a Christian saint. He was not a pagan, and he was not involved in any erotism, any kind of immorality. He was somebody that was caring for, helping people that were lovers, and therefore love came to be associated with him. So the church has seen that instead of allowing the youth to go out there to celebrate this auspicious day with unbelievers who will not impute to them any good morals, the church has chosen to instill in us the better way of following the tradition of Saint Valentine. Okay, so my wife and I, in keeping with the tradition, we're giving this topic by the church to treat, and I would like to share with you since it was on Facebook, but it's not here. I'd like to share with you what the topic was about and the lessons we shared as people who have known each other for 20 years and I've been married for almost 14 years now. Um, the title was Knowing Love, Choosing Purity. Knowing Love, Choosing Purity. And there's a certain trajectory when it comes to love. Um, Sometimes you meet a stranger and then there's dating, there's courting, there's marriage. Um, and then in other times when you marry from your circles, you grow up with somebody, you are at the same school, you become friends, best of friends, dating, um, we just had a light setback, dating, and then courting, and then the marriage. So that could happen. It could happen from point of view of meeting somebody you didn't know, and by reason of attraction, things in common, you begin to date. Even that is strange to start dating somebody you don't know at all. So you try and get to know each other first before the dating comes in. I think I'll need some light over here. So, as much as possible, what we are saying is that love, there's this trajectory that love goes through. Love changes over the many seasons in terms of how it is expressed, how it's experienced. It changes over the seasons of the relationship as it moves from acquaintance to the best of friends to dating to courting to marriage. And we were explaining to the audience there that when it comes to certain very, let's say, conservative churches, there is no room for dating because in dating is where you are seeing whether the person is eligible for marriage. There's no such thing in many circles, actually. What is actually present really is that you know the person either from where you are, the church you are, or the person's recommended to you by another person, and you have prayed, you had your prayers, studied the person from afar, and the rest. And once you are sure, you go and tell the person that you want us to study each other leading to marriage. And therefore, the person accepts your proposal. It becomes a proposal that person accepted. So the person is now moving with you towards marriage. So mostly in the Christian circle, there's no room for let me try you out before I decide to marry you. Normally, when you're approaching the woman, you approach the woman with the intention of marriage right from the start. Nobody has the time to be wasted in terms of trying the person out, trying to know the person. Mostly you're expected to know the person. And if you're sharing the same ideals and the rest, then this knowledge is supposed to be in Christian circles, in very conservative Pentecostal circles, the room of trying somebody out to see whether the person is eligible to be a husband or wife doesn't come in, because your approach is an approach of I want to marry. There's no room for dating somebody romantically. There's no room of going out with somebody that you are sexually attracted to. There's no room for wanting to know somebody just for the purpose of trying out to see if you could be husband and wife. You know, we believe in the my sister, my spouse, as also Solomon says. People who are in the same church, we have one faith, we have one baptism. Actually, we have one body. So naturally, we are similar. Our beliefs, our ideals are similar, and we have been given the same training when it comes to love, dedication, and the rest. And so we don't need to try somebody out to see if you are compatible. Normally, the compatibility comes in as a matter of temperament, as a matter of whether parents will accept the person, the rest. And some of those things are even considered before the proposal is accepted. Remember, we are talking about knowing love. You know, there are considerations of where you come from, station in life, and all of those things come in, actually. Why? Because love is not in a vacuum. Love is always is within a certain bracket. Remember, and we have examples in scripture. When it was time for Jacob to marry, Jacob was told to go to his uncle's house to get a wife. In other words, Jacob was told to go to a specific people, his own people. So Jacob traveled all that way to go and see his uncle Laban so that he could marry one of his daughters. Esau, who was a twin of Jacob, had married from around among the Canaanites. Unfortunately, the differences in culture, idol worship, and the rest had become a headache for mother-in-law, who was the mother-in-law was Rebecca, and the mother-in-law did not like her daughters-in-law because he married more two. So knowing who you are marrying, sharing their faith, sharing their belief, is important. So to avoid heartbreaks, because once you tell somebody that you love the person, you want to relate to the person emotionally, the person has to respond to your love to move with you. Once that is done, not in the context of preparation towards marriage or studying each other to see if you could end up in marriage, then it becomes an issue of try and error. You have not promised marriage, so it's easier to just break off the because it's not an engagement. It's just um, dating. We're just dating, as I keep saying, and that has traumatized a lot of people, giving them a very negative perception of love. A lot of people have wasted their first love on people who are just trying them out, people who didn't have any commitment, and being young and naive, their mistakes were seen as weaknesses, and were seen as things that were not desirable, even though they were just mistakes of young people who were doing something they have not done for the first time, and some of these things. So, um, from the Christian circles, already you know about the lab. There's already Philadelphia, about the love, caring for each other and the rest. So as you go for prayer meetings, you go for funerals, you go for entertainment, you go for programs outside of prayer and fasting and evangelism. You get to know people, their service, their attention, the way they carry themselves, and you could be attracted to one. And that's what Paul was saying, First Corinthians chapter 7, he says that if you are engaged to a young woman and you feel like your attraction towards the person is increasing, then marry. You know, so or that if you think you the person you engage to, the years are going by and she's growing old, marry. So those are the things that are stated in First Corinthians chapter 7, where it talks about people who are engaged. So it says you're virgin, you're woman. Because those days women who were not married were virgins. So they were synonymous. So your fiance, if your fiance the years are going by, marry her. Or if you feel like your social attraction is getting more intense, then marry. Remember, he was not saying that as a cure for sexual attraction. He was saying that it is better to get married than to burn in lust with somebody you are just dating endlessly. You know, we also talked about the fact that some people have turned dating or sometimes even courting into some sort of a PhD program. 8 years, 5 years is still going on. 6 years, no, it's still going on. Not that they are waiting. There are instances where some people they have to wait for their ladies to finish medical school. That's fine because that could take 6 years if you engage her right in first year, which is mostly appropriate. Um, so then it's because the person needs to finish school actually, but not that you just don't know what to do for which reason. Sometimes there's an issue of job that you haven't secured a job or your job has not is not lucrative enough for you to be able to organize a befitting wedding. In which case you have to choose between the potential of committing fornication and having a simple marriage ceremony. Um, so, as I said, in First Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1 to 8, it talks about all the facets of love, not keep record of wrong, being forgiving, loving, and all of those things. Those are general things that are expected of Christian men and women. And if that foundation is there, it makes it very easy for the eros love, the desire love, the love for the body, love for the soul before that one comes in. So what the eros love, we're talking about knowing love. So we've talked about brotherly love. Then we talked about the fact that yeah, you can be have Philadelphia in church and the rest. But as you get closer, what is getting you closer is the eros love, and that is a desire for intimacy, a desire for romance, a desire for sex, and other Amos Kevin Anna calls it IRS. In other words, intimacy, romance, sex. So anybody, see, that is why it is very crucial. It's very crucial when you are rejecting a man's proposal. Any man who comes to propose to you is literally saying that I want to be intimate with you. I want to be romantic towards you. And ultimately, when we get married, I want to have sex with you. All of those things are part. So when you hear those things, and then instead of feeling privileged, feeling favored, that another person, God's child, your own brother in the Lord, wants to go this long haul with you, you meet it with contempt, with insults. A time is coming, people will not approach you any longer. And since you cannot force a proposal, you become desperate, actually, because word will go round of what you do to people who dare to express their romantic love towards you. Now, and these things are not immoral, they are just what has been placed in us because of all the difficulties that surround marriage. Believe you me, I told them there, I was clear, I was in church. I didn't like it. I said it is mad people who marry. You need a certain level of madness to marry. Because if it is not madness, how do you meet somebody you didn't know from anywhere, from Adam, maybe you just saw in church, and then you forsake all others, as your vow say, and cling to this person? The person, some of them, you have not even seen their ankle before, let alone their inner thighs, but you believe that, I mean, their body, everything is fine, and you believe everything functions well. For how many tests can you do? You can test blood and the rest, but you can't really test fertility or anything. Can you even test whether somebody has a womb or the rest? People see it as intrusive. So it takes a lot of faith to believe that this person can go with me for the rest of my life. That in the transitions of my life, at every stage, that person will be appropriate. That person will measure up. That person will stand up and be a worthy partner for the rest of my life. But that's what you are saying when you're deciding for a young woman, a young man. You are saying this person will match up with me at every stage of my life. How, no matter how far I go, no matter where I go. That's what you're saying. And that person needs to match up, otherwise there will be an issue. So it takes a lot of man. That is why we fall in love, because without falling in love, most people will be very skeptical. That's why those who don't fall in love never marry. They just keep jumping from man to man, from woman to man. If you have no capability to fall in love, you will not marry. Or that you only marry because you fall in love with somebody's money, somebody's status, or you just fall in love with, you like the idea of having a certain person in your life. But that one it will show very soon, because you need the madness of falling in love to be able to dive deep into the things you need to change, the things you need to adjust to, the things you need to accommodate, the things you need to promote and help for a marriage to run smoothly. So you need to be married to get married. And I made them aware of that. So Solomon says in Solomon 1, Songs of Solomon chapter 1, verse 2, yes, we do quote that scripture, and he is appropriate. Kiss me with the kisses of thy mouth, for thy love is better than wine. The intimacy, the desire here is what the young lady was saying towards her beloved Solomon's. She was desiring intimacy, she was desiring romance. Uh, Romantic love, let me read this thing. Romantic love overcomes the many differences between man and woman. As a woman are from Mars, you know, we are very different. Men and women can't be in, we are almost opposite in many ways. No, something not even temperament, but just in the fact that we are of different gender and the way we are raised. So there are many differences between man and woman. The desire for mating, a man is very boisterous and desirous to get married because a man desires to mate, whilst the desire for a woman to get married is that she wants a mate, she wants a companion, she wants a protector, a provider. The man wants to meet somebody who will nurture the younger one, somebody who will nurture him into a great man in the future. So these things is what pushes the man also into marriage. These underlying things before the romanticism comes on top of it. And as we know, opposite mostly attract. We want the strength of our partner because we think those are our weaknesses. And he's going to make up for that. She's going to make up for that. So opposite attract. And because opposite attract, the opposite will also have tendencies that we do not like. The weaknesses of those opposite will be a weakness we do not like because we have overcome them. If the person is slow, we are fast. If the person is actually very, very particular about the surroundings, we may be people who are not particular about our surroundings. And we may be outgoing more, while the person will be more introvert. So the weaknesses of the very positive characteristics that we like are the ones that also give us headache after you've gotten married. You know, after marriage, there needs to be an agreement. He says Amos 3:3 says, "Can two work together except they be agreed?" You need to agree. You know how to raise your kids. Agree where you're going to go to church after you gotten married. Agree clearly who is leading and who is helping. You need to agree where your primary place of abode will be. And every stage will be an agreement. And that's what makes a husband and wife team a formidable team, because they are just a corporate entity on their own, and when two agree concerning by the witness of two or three is anything established, so those are the things. I wrote a book titled 20 Unique Blessings of a Good Marriage. So you begin to have these things happening in your marriage because you are agreeing. Two hairs have become better than one. Remember, two good hairs are better than one. Two bad hairs are worse than one. So, in conclusion, let me give you some myths that we have that destroy love. That make love not progress. Some myths that make us not choose purity in our love journey. And one of them is that we believe that we have a soulmate. So if the person is misbehaving, we don't want to lose our soulmate, so we give in sexually. We give in terms of pursuing purity. We think we have a missing rib. In other words, nobody has any soulmate. The person that you have agreed to be with becomes your soulmate. And if that person, for some reason, dies or decides not to be interested in you again, um, and you're not married yet, and then here I'm talking about you are not married. Once you marry, the person becomes your soulmate. But if you're not married yet, the person decides to leave, there's another person who can become your soulmate. There isn't any particular singular person who is your soulmate. You know, there will be many fits in your journey towards marriage, but just one right fit. After that one right fit, you will still meet other people who you think can also be a good fit. But here, the carefulness is that if you don't take care, your husband or wife's fitting so much in your life may leave only some small portion that may make the other person feel like he can fit everywhere because you have forgotten somebody else is occupying 80% of all your needs already. So the 20% left can easily be met by another person. Let that 80% occupier, your current husband, wife, leave. You realize that that person does not even occupy 60% of the things you need. So, um, so there are people who have similar appearance, similar temperaments, and that you will like. But at a point in time, there should be that one person that you have agreed, decided, committed to. That's why the Bible, on your saying your Bible, say, forsaking all others, cling to only you. Those vows will not be said if you are automatically hooked one person and nobody else seems to draw your attention. No, it's not like that. We have seen practically in marriage, there's nothing like that. Some other people will draw your attention. You see beautiful women, you see attractive men, you see men of noble character, you see women of great character. But it does not mean that such people can agree with you in terms of where they come from, their training and the rest. Everything can go the way your current relationship is going just because you feel like changing. I think the grass is greener at that one. So in choosing purity, these are the things that uh, we need to understand so that we can choose purity in a relationship. First and foremost, choosing purity is not choosing bondage. It's not choosing any colloquial lifestyle. Neither is it choosing any backward life. No, it's choosing the right way to live. Expose practical, medically, socially, and everything else. Forget about the naysayers who peddle those falsehoods. Maybe what if he's too small? What if he's too big? You know, these are the people that tends to. There are such people who don't accept a woman who several men have tried. And these are the same people who are claiming they should try those women because what if it's too big, what if it's too small? No, please. If that place a baby can pass through the what is big, what is small, it's a matter of how you go about it. Now, number one, it's when you choose purity, it spares you the guilt of premarital sex throughout the marriage. And those who have gone through it will tell you the guilt is excruciating. So whenever they are talking about it, whenever somebody else brings the topic up, it builds trust between you. You can be comfortable that your wife is somewhere doing a course, you're doing a course, because you know you have that discipline between the two of you. So it builds trust between the two. It builds a relationship on friendship and companionship. It gives you room to build a solid relationship of friendship and companionship, even when there is no sex. Otherwise, your relationship will only be around sex. When there's no sex, everything comes crumbling down. And because when there's no sex, there's no intimacy, there's no love for you, your marriage will collapse. Because most people, especially the women after childbirth, their desire for sex goes down drastically. So you begin to think that the love is gone. Um, it increases your chance of landing a better person after a breakup. There are instances I know where a friend was dating a girl, the girl didn't want premarital sex, the friend left the girl, the other friend went for the girl and married her. Why? Because the girl did not allow premarital sex. There's no way that would have happened because I'm sure his friend would have talked to him about how one day, I mean, sort of, he did it and all that. So, and they were in the same church. So, the reason many people don't find um, men, especially women, they don't find better replacement for their breakups is because normally the breakups were breakups that after the man has seen their nakedness. So it makes them feel worthless afterwards. With each breakup, they feel more and more worthless until they are ready to settle for anything. They have no more dignity within them. And then finally, it builds resilience within you during periods of separation between you and your spouse. So, and then finally, you realize that there are instances, when you get married, sometimes difficult pregnancies, you could end up having a situation where your spouse is not available for sex for a whole year or more because that person went to school for 2 years or sometimes even more. And you need that discipline of connecting with the person outside sex for the relationship, otherwise the relationship will collapse. So these are the reasons you need to choose purity. Not to mention the fact that you can lose a reputation you built for 30 years just for 5 minutes sex. You can have your whole career come crumbling down because you slept with the wrong person. You can have your whole marriage destroyed because you slept with the wrong person. And all because, not because of anything special, but because you just needed good sex. You couldn't control your sexual desire. So choose purity when you are young, and it will be a training for you for the rest of your life. So this is what we did. Where we dealt with. Sorry about the light. The light just went up here, and no love. That there will be deeper feelings that will come, but the deeper feelings will transition to commitment, to agreement, accommodation over time. It's all the time that the feelings will be strong. It's all the time that the feelings will be about sex and desire and looks. There will be times that it will transition to commitment, to faithfulness, to support and the rest. As the love grows onto a point where you come back again, become like brother and sister, after so many decades of marriage, when you don't have the strength even to engage in coitus. So, God bless you for being here and listening to this special um, Valentine delivery. Couldn't do it live, but I'm giving it to you as I was done in church. And I believe you have been blessed in spite of our light interruption. Remain blessed. And I'm telling you, there'll be obstacles, there'll be challenges. I wrote a book titled Now That You're Married. If you're a married person, you can find that book on Amazon. There'll be challenges, but the challenge and difficulties will be overcome because the two of you are committed to each other. You are each other's person. You will deal with temptations, you will deal with trials from outside. But if the two of you don't have a proper foundation, that's why you have a problem. So try and know love, try and choose purity. God bless you. Amen.